Hi everyone and welcome back to Domenika. Today I'm going to do a fun 80s inspired makeup, a bit disco. And this is the first video on my new camera. So I'm excited about that. So without further ado, let's get started. I start with a red lip liner. Winging out that eyeliner. Domenika. So I've already done the base of camera to make this a bit quicker, and I used the It Cosmetics CC Plus Your Skin But Better in the color Light. This is a tiny bit too dark for me actually, but it works when I use a bit teeniest amount and blend it out and use more lighter concealer in the middle to get my paleness back. And on top of that I used a lighter concealer. I used the Tilbury Magic Away in One Fair, and I started also with a bit of Eldridge Elevated Glow in Crystal Nebula, just on my cheekbones to give a bit of glow. And I'm only applied kind of skin products around here and down the center, and the glow around here, and not any foundation on top of it. I wanted to do more of kind of that very blushed look that you've seen lately, which has been a very popular kind of 80s trend coming back. So I'm going to start with a bit of eyeshadow primer, and this is the Smashbox Photo Finish 24 Hour. And this is great. Smashbox is pretty great at their primers. I have started using a bit more how to talk when you're doing your makeup sometimes. I've started to use more a oil absorbing primer on my forehead because I get quite a sweaty forehead, and that worked well, make my fringe look a bit better. So if you want to see a video with fringe tips, I'd be more than happy to do that. And I'm just going to do my eyebrows really quick while that sets a bit the primer. I'm going to use Legendary Brows by Tilbury. So for the quad I'm going to use today, I'm going to use Nars Orgasm. See, not Orgasm, I mean Orgasm X. And this has more kind of purpley colors. And I'm also going to use my trusty Tilbury brush kit, which I love. I'm going to start with a bit of the pinkish matte shade, the only matte shade in the palette. And I'm going to... Oops. I forgot how pigmented this is. But luckily I have a clean brush handy to kind of diffuse it. And it can be a good idea to tap the brush. I wouldn't blow on the brush because then you can get spit and bacteria onto the brush, and I wouldn't want that on my eyelids. It's great to have a clean brush handy to kind of diffuse the eye look with. And I feel like if you don't want to tap it over something and get eyeshadow everywhere, you can just take it a bit onto your hand and kind of brush off a bit. That also works pretty well, I think. So that's the base for the eyes. I'm going to go into the smudge brush, which is teeny tiny, and into the same shade. Go underneath the eye. Blend it kind of up into the other eyeshadow, so that everything is kind of seamless. Mascara face, makeup face in general. You do such some weird things with our face when you're doing makeup. It's a bit fun, I think. Now I've done kind of rough base on my eyes. And I want this color to go into the cheeks also. So now I'm going to go back into the palette and use the pink shade that I used on the eyes. This is pretty pigmented, so I'm going to tap off the brush and apply it to the back of my hand. I'm also going to apply it a bit on top of the elevated glow, because I feel like the elevated glow is going to shine through. And I'm going to blend it up into my eyeshadow. See, I'm just starting to building it up a bit more. This is going to be a pretty blushed look. And I feel like it's right on trend. It's not kind of what I do normally myself, but I love to experiment with makeup, and I feel like doing a bit more crazy makeup really kind of lifts the spirit sometimes. Color can really kind of be a bit of a therapy. As you can see, I might go in with more of a blusher to kind of diffuse it a bit more. I feel like that looks very cool. I've seen some bring it more up to the forehead also. I'm not going to do this as much, perhaps a bit up here, but I have a fringe, so I put a lot of color here. When you can't see it, I feel like perhaps sometimes using a bit of a bronzer underneath the fringe can really help, but I don't really put that much makeup underneath there, except kind of products to keep me less sweaty. Oily, I should say. And this quad, I think, came out last year, but they still have it on their website. Not necessarily all the retailers. I feel like it's very cool quad. They also have it in Orgasm, which is a bit more lighter and a bit more natural everyday, I would say. I only have the Orgasm X because I have a lot of kind of more natural pinkish palette, and it reminded me a lot of the Pillow Talk by Tilbury, and I already have that one, so I thought that I should go for something that I didn't have as many palettes in similar tones. It's a little bit patchy around here from where I put a bit too much on at the start. So now that I've gone quite heavy on the cheeks, I thought I'd go in with more shimmer from the quad. This is the lightest shimmer. Taking that on a brush. And this shade in itself, I have used just that shade as more kind of a everyday look. I'm actually more into kind of more natural makeup usually. Do love a bit of color, and I feel like sometimes you can wear color that's quite bright, like purple on the eyes, and it looks kind of more natural in a way. Just if you have just teeniest bit. I love to use the Duochrome by Triochrome, I think it is, by Natasha Denona on my eyes for everyday. The liquid eyeshadow in ultraviolet. I did use it in a tutorial, but I had a hard time editing it. It didn't go that well. The white balance was off, and I had a lot of other kind of technical issues with that recording. Perhaps I should re-record it. I don't know. You see, now it's gone more shimmering. And now I think I'm going to go more into the purple, because why not? This is an 80s look. They used to be a bit extravagant with their makeup styles. Because I feel like even though it's called 80s, a lot of the looks that we do nowadays is 80s inspired and it's been a bit of a trend. I feel like it's not as extravagant as it used to be in the 80s. I didn't live in the 80s, obviously. But my mother did and wore quite funny glasses for a more modern eye. But right on trend then. She also wore blue eyeshadow from her lash line all the way up to her brow. And blue eyeshadow I feel like is very, very 80s. It's also something that Lady Diana wore a lot. Although I feel like when she started having her makeup done by Mary Greenwell, who's a legendary makeup artist, it went to more natural browny tones. More kind of like what we associate her with. But she wore a lot of blue eyeliner. See, that added a bit more depth. So now I'm going to go back with a bit more blusher. I'm going to use the... Why does the camera think the product is white? I'm going to use the Low Glow. Can't pick up the color, but it's more kind of peachy color, and it's the dew tone with a color in the middle. And you can see a bit more now. It's a bit lighter, a bit peachier than the pink that I used from the palette. I'm going to use that a bit to kind of diffuse the shades that I already have. So just going to go in with this to kind of blend. This is actually a blusher that you can go quite heavy with, I feel, without it really noticing that much. Wow, I look like I have a lot of blusher on, and I do, I really do, but this is a bit unusual for me. Go in and blending a bit more. And I think I'm going to use this more dark peachier one of the glitters, and I'm going to use this with a finger because I feel like it works better with a finger or flat brush. And I'm going to pat this on. Starting to giving me a bit more disco vibes with that shimmer. I'm hoping the camera picks it up. This really brings out the blue in my eyes. Shimmer drops down a bit, but I think it's okay. It kind of plays into the disco I've been dancing all night. Just going to curl my lashes. And now it's time for mascara face. you know what? To make this even more 80s, I think I'm going to go in with a blue eyeliner. And this is by NYX. And it's satin blue. Just going to apply that into my waterline. It's going to give me more the 80s feel to this look. As you can see, this is starting to come along very nicely, I think. Hope it's recording well also. Oh, I should probably say that I'm using the Bobbi Brown Porcelain Bisque underneath my eyes to counteract a bit of the blueness. Mostly because I feel like absolutely have to use this whenever I'm wearing anything blue on my eyes, because it accentuates the dark circles. And I know that with these lights that we have here, I don't really think that you can see the dark circles underneath the eyes that well. But it's there. In real life you can see it more. That just helps with the under eye. I'm going to go in with a bit of powder there. This is the powder I'm using. It's by Dior. And it's the Dior Skin Nude Air. And it's a loose powder. And I have the shade Ivory. Surprise, surprise. Obviously, I think. I'm not really a girl that likes to use powder that much. So for the lips, to keep with this kind of disco vibe I have going on here, I'm going to use Delilah. Wow, I mean, like this is stunning. It's by Eldridge. I don't know if you can see, it says Eldridge on the side, which is new for her lip glosses. Her old lip glosses had just the glass around, and it also has this very cute monogram of an L with a lip in it. And this color, I mean, wow, it's a lot more sheer than it looks like in the tube. But I feel like this is perfect for this kind of disco look. Almost lost myself with that. I just become speechless by the lip gloss. I think something like that. So I'm just whacking that on. Applying it quite thickly because I want more of the color. But if you apply it more sheer, it's going to look very, very natural. Like you just enhance. It just enhances your lips a bit to make it a bit teeny bit more pink. Not that far from pink lip balms really. This was actually one of the shades that I was most excited about when she launched her new collection. Mostly because it was so different from everything else. I feel like color really can kind of lift your spirit and really affect your mood. And they say that green and kind of nature is very good for your mental health, and I think also color. And there is makeup a very great tool. So there you have it. This is such a cool look. I mean, like, I should just apply some sequins and go out and dance. I think it's so great to just have fun with your makeup. And I hope you're having fun with your makeup. I'm having a bit of fun with my hair now also. It's starting to look crazier and crazier as the tutorial goes on. It's going to be 80s, right? So that's the finished look. I hope you enjoyed it. I see you soon. Take care. Appreciate your time. And as we say in Norway, ha det bra. I start with a red lip liner. I start with a red lip liner. Winging out that eyeliner. Domenika.